Imagine standing on a sheet of ice the size of the United States and Mexico combined. Beneath your boots, the ice goes down further than you can comprehend. 1 kilometre, 2 kilometres, in some places even more than 4. And until very recently, scientists believed that what lay beneath all that ice was simply more ice, frozen solid and silent, locked in place since before the first humans walked the Earth. But in September of 2025, a team of researchers published something that quietly rewrote what we thought we knew about the bottom of the world. Hidden several kilometers beneath the ice, they had found 85 lakes. Lakes nobody had ever seen. Lakes that fill, drain, and shift in the darkness. And what might be living in them could change everything we believe about life itself. To understand what was discovered, you have to understand the place itself. Antarctica is not just cold, it is the coldest, driest, windiest, and most isolated continent on the planet. Its surface area is roughly 14 million square kilometers, which is bigger than Europe, and 98% of that surface is buried under ice. The ice itself is staggering. In central East Antarctica, it reaches a depth of nearly 4.8 kilometers. That's deeper than the tallest mountains in the Alps at all. If every glacier in Antarctica melted tomorrow, global sea levels would rise by about 58 meters. Coastal cities, the entire Netherlands, much of Florida and parts of Bangladesh would simply cease to exist. For most of human history, we had no idea what was underneath. We knew the ice. We knew the surface. We knew the penguins and the seals and the wind that can flip a man off his feet without warning. But the world below the ice was a complete mystery. That began to change in the 1970s. Soviet scientists working at Vostok Station, one of the most remote and miserable outposts on Earth, started using radar to look down through the ice. What came back on their screens did not make sense. The signal was bouncing off something flat, something liquid, something that, by every law of physics, should not exist beneath thousands of meters of frozen continent. But it did exist, and what it was would take another 20 years to understand. In 1996, after decades of measurements and arguments, scientists finally confirmed it. Sitting under nearly 4 kilometers of ice was a lake, a real lake with liquid water, larger than the country of Belgium. They called it Lake Vostok. It was the 7th largest lake on Earth by volume. It had been sealed off from the surface world for somewhere between 15 and 25 million years. To put that in perspective, when the last drop of light reached Lake Vostok, our ancestors had not yet evolved into anything resembling a human being. Mammoths did not exist, and the Mediterranean Sea was a different shape. The obvious question was, how can a lake be liquid under all that ice? The answer is a quiet kind of miracle. The pressure of the ice pressing down lowers the freezing point of water. Geothermal heat rising from the bedrock below adds just enough warmth. The ice itself acts as a thick insulating blanket. The result is a body of water that has remained liquid in total darkness for tens of millions of years. But Lake Vostok was not the only one. By the early 2000s, radar surveys had identified hundreds of these subglacial lakes scattered beneath Antarctica. Some were small, the size of a city park. Others were enormous, and most of them, scientists believed, were still and stagnant. Cold reservoirs that had been sleeping for millions of years. Then in January of 2013, a team of American researchers led by glaciologist John Priscu did something almost no one thought possible. They drilled through 800 meters of ice in West Antarctica into a lake called Lake Whillans and pulled up samples of water that had not seen sunlight in tens of thousands of years. What they found in that water changed biology forever. The samples were not sterile, they were not dead. They contained nearly 4,000 species of microbes, living microbes, surviving in absolute darkness at near freezing temperatures, with no sunlight, no plants, no oxygen-producing photosynthesis of any kind. These microbes had figured out how to live by eating the rock itself. They drew their energy from chemical reactions involving iron, sulfur, and ancient minerals dissolved in the water. It was a complete, functioning ecosystem operating on rules that have nothing to do with the sun. But Lake Whillans was just one lake. There were hundreds more down there. Untouched, unstudied, and possibly teeming with life. The problem was, nobody had any idea how many of them were actually moving. In April of 2010, the European Space Agency launched a satellite called Cryosat-2. It was small, about the size of a delivery van. It carried a single primary instrument, a radar altimeter designed to do one job and one job only: measure the thickness of polar ice anywhere on Earth with breathtaking precision. Cryosat-2 orbits the planet about 7 times a day. As it passes over Antarctica, it sends down radar pulses that bounce off the surface of the ice and return to the satellite. By measuring the exact time each pulse takes to return, scientists can calculate the height of the ice surface at any given point on the continent, accurate to within a few centimetres. That last detail matters enormously. A few centimetres from space, across an entire continent. Because here is what the satellite was watching for. When a subglacial lake fills up with water, the ice above it bulges upward, sometimes by a metre or more. When the same lake drains, the ice settles back down. From the surface, these changes are completely invisible. You could stand on top of a draining lake the size of Manhattan and never know it. The ice moves so slowly, so silently, that without satellites we would have no way of detecting it at all. So beginning in 2010 and continuing for the next decade, Cryosat-2 simply watched. It mapped the surface of the entire Antarctic ice sheet, over and over again, year after year. And as the data accumulated, patterns began to emerge, tiny rises and falls in the ice surface that could only mean one thing. Water was on the move down there, a lot of water, and nobody yet knew how much. Throughout the 2010s, scientists slowly catalogued the active lakes they could identify. By 2020, the official tally stood at 146 known active subglacial lakes across the continent. That number alone was extraordinary. But there was a problem with the methodology used to find them. It was good, but it was not good enough to catch the smaller, quieter lakes, the ones that filled and drained over years, not months. The ones that lay buried under the thickest, most remote ice on Earth. For those, scientists would need a decade of data, a more refined technique, and a fresh pair of eyes. And in 2025, they finally had all three. On the 19th of September 2025, a paper appeared in the journal Nature Communications. It was the kind of paper that, at first glance, looks technical and quiet. The kind that does not make headlines the way a dinosaur fossil or a new planet does. But for anyone paying attention, what it described was extraordinary. The research team had taken roughly 10 years of Cryosat-2 data, covering the period from 2010 to 2020, and applied a new analysis technique to it. They were not looking for big, obvious changes in the ice. They were looking for subtle ones. Slow rises and falls of just a few centimetres, repeating in patterns over years. When they finished, they had identified 85 active subglacial lakes that nobody knew existed. 85 hidden bodies of water, under kilometres of ice, all of them shifting in ways that had been completely invisible until that moment. Some of these lakes were in regions that had been studied for decades, places scientists thought they understood. Others were in remote parts of the East Antarctic interior, areas so cold and so dry that researchers had long assumed nothing interesting was happening there at all. They were wrong. The discovery brought the total count of known active subglacial lakes in Antarctica to 231. 231 bodies of water sealed beneath the ice, none of them frozen, none of them dead, all of them moving, slowly, patiently, in ways no one on the surface could see. But the implications went far beyond just counting lakes. Subglacial water acts like a lubricant. When water builds up under a glacier, it lifts the ice off the bedrock. The glacier slides faster. When the water drains away, the glacier slows down. Multiply that across hundreds of active lakes and you start to understand something uncomfortable. The hidden plumbing of Antarctica directly affects how quickly its ice flows toward the ocean. And how quickly Antarctic ice reaches the ocean is one of the single biggest factors in global sea level rise. Every climate model that does not account for this hidden lake activity is, by definition, missing part of the picture. Scientists were not just adding 85 dots to a map. They were redrawing our understanding of how an entire continent breathes. But there was something else, something quieter, something that had nothing to do with sea levels and everything to do with what might already be alive down there. Remember those microbes from Lake Whillans, the ones drilled up in 2013? They were not a fluke. In the years since, scientists have found similar microbial communities in other subglacial environments. Lake Mercer, drilled in 2018, contained the remains of ancient creatures and active microbes thriving in total darkness. Studies of ice cores above Lake Vostok have suggested microbial life may exist there too, although direct sampling remains nearly impossible because of the risk of contaminating a pristine ecosystem millions of years old. What this tells us is that subglacial lakes are not dead. They are not empty. They are habitable, and in at least some cases, they are inhabited. Life has found a way to survive without sunlight, without plants, without any of the ingredients we usually consider essential. It survives on rock chemistry, on dissolved minerals, on geothermal heat seeping up from the deep crust. The way these ecosystems work is genuinely strange. At the bottom of the food chain are microbes that draw energy from chemical reactions, a process called chemosynthesis. They turn iron, sulfur, and ammonia into food. Other microbes feed on them. Some studies have found ancient organic carbon locked in lake sediments, supporting whole microbial communities for hundreds of thousands of years without any input from the surface world. And now, with the 85 new lakes added to the map, the question becomes simple and enormous at the same time. If we already know that some subglacial lakes contain life, what are the odds that none of these 85 new ones do? Each newly identified lake is a sealed, isolated environment that has likely been cut off from the surface for hundreds of thousands of years, possibly millions. Each one could host its own unique microbial community. Each one could contain organisms that have evolved separately from anything else on Earth. We are not just talking about more bacteria. We are talking about potentially 85 hidden Galapagos islands, frozen beneath the ice, each one running its own private experiment in evolution. We have not sampled them. We may never sample most of them. The technology required, the cost, the contamination risk, the diplomatic agreements, all of it makes drilling a single subglacial lake an enormous undertaking. To drill 85 would take generations. But we know they are there, and that knowledge alone changes things. Because if life exists this comfortably in conditions this extreme on our planet, then something else becomes much more likely, something much further away. 600 million kilometers from Earth in orbit around Jupiter, there is a moon called Europa. Its surface is a sheet of frozen ice, cracked into long lines and ridges. It is bombarded by radiation. Its temperature is about minus 160 degrees Celsius. But underneath that ice, scientists are now almost certain there is an ocean. A salty, liquid ocean that may contain twice as much water as every ocean on Earth combined. And on Europa, just like on Antarctica, geothermal heat from the moon's interior may be keeping that ocean liquid. Hydrothermal vents on the seafloor may be pumping out the same kinds of chemical energy that feed microbes in Lake Whillans. Saturn's moon Enceladus is similar. It shoots plumes of water vapor and ice particles hundreds of kilometers into space, samples of which the Cassini spacecraft flew through and analyzed. Those samples contained organic molecules, salt, and the chemical signatures of hydrothermal activity. For decades, the search for life beyond Earth has focused on places we hoped might be a little bit like our own world. Mars with its hint of ancient rivers, Venus in some unusual scenarios, distant exoplanets in the so-called habitable zone, close enough to a star to have liquid water on their surface. But what Antarctica is teaching us, lake by hidden lake, is that the warm and sunlit surface of a planet may not be where most of the life in the universe actually lives. The rules might be different. The rules might say that the most common form of life in the cosmos is microbial, sealed under ice, eating chemistry. indifferent to suns and stars and the things we used to think were essential. If that is true, then every icy moon out there becomes a candidate. Every frozen world we used to dismiss becomes a place worth looking. And the 85 lakes we just found, 3 kilometers below our own ice, are not just a discovery, they are a rehearsal. A rehearsal for the missions, decades from now, that will drill into Europa and Enceladus and ask the same question we are asking right here. Is anyone home down there? Antarctica has guarded its secrets for 40 million years. We have spent the last 50 trying to read them, and every time we look closer, the continent gives up something stranger and more alive than we expected. If you found this story as remarkable as I did, the best thing you can do is subscribe. There is more frozen world to explore and more hidden water down there than anyone yet realizes. Until next time, keep looking down. The most extraordinary places on Earth are usually the ones we never thought to check.